Good afternoon, everyone. We are 100 Years Enterprise. We coming back at you with the consequence of the street life, season 4. It's a pleasure to be here with these beautiful brothers as we striving to understand who we are, and we continue to grow from young men to adults to grown men who are just striving in our purpose, in our belief system, to continue to steer the youth from making early death decisions. That's our mission statement. That's what we stand on. And so today we have a beautiful brother here. I'm glad Hamza reached out to him. He part of a great organization, an organization that we have connected with, and we're going to continue to do some beautiful things with these brothers. We had his good brother on our show before. So Umar, welcome to the show. But before we go in with Umar, I want to introduce my brother.
Hello, everybody. My name is Patrick Scott, better known as Hamza. Thank you for coming.
Dante.
And I am Fahim. So Umar, I know Patrick reached out to you, Hamza reached out to you about coming and joining the podcast, but why you want to be here?
The reason, first and foremost, Omar Walker, otherwise known as Socrates. The reason why I wanted to do, I just wanted to, because I've been through a lot, and I have something to give back to the community. That's very vital, you know what I mean. And I do think getting this information out would be wonderful for the community.
So in terms of communities are all over the place. So where is the basis of your work?
Well, the basis of my work right now is in San Francisco. You know, I work with United Playaz. Speaking about United Playaz, West Bay. I bought some wristbands.
Thank you.
Come bearing gifts.
Let me put mine on.
There you go, brother Hamza.
Here we go.
Two of you brothers could get one also.
Yes. There you go. All right, everybody get a wristband.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh yeah. See that? Cross connect. There we go. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Let me get one of yours.
Yes. Can it fit?
Oh yeah.
Stretch it out.
Fit. Yes, sir. There we go.
Okay.
So tell us what United Playaz is about and how long have you been a part of United Playaz?
I've been a part of United Playaz for like a year and a few months since I've been paroled. United Playaz is a violent prevention organization that's been around for 29 years that catered to from the first grade to the 12th grade kids. We also have spots for people getting out of prison to utilize their skill set, their newfound skill set. Make sure they help them navigate getting back to society, make sure they integrate back into society in a positive way, help them with jobs, help them with resources, and also we do gun buybacks.
Yes.
We do gun buybacks once a year, no questions asked. You pull up, drop your gun off, give it to the officer. We give you $200, depends what type of gun it may be. You get a $300, and we just work in the community, collaborate with different organizations. We're in the schools, making sure these kids get the resources that they need, pair them up with mentors. We're in the juvenile halls, and that's what we do. And also different schools throughout the city. Whenever they call my director, Rudy Corpus, those are the schools to be like, hey, you may tap me or somebody else and take us to that school, and we go in and we do our thing.
Shout out to Rudy. Rudy, you know we coming to see you. I know you're busy this weekend, but we'll be to see you.
Yeah.
Great.
That's beautiful, brother. This podcast is about the consequence of the street life. So, in your humble opinion, right, brother, how did the consequence of the street life play a part in your life? And if it caused you any kind of pain or your family pain?
It did. The consequences of me living and running the street and living that street life cost me dearly, man. I'm just grateful to God that He gave me a second chance, and He landed me in prison with life without parole. Life without parole, and mad at the world, didn't want to accept responsibility upon receiving that sentence and going to prison. And it took me a long time to wake up, being honest with you. took me like 16, 17 years to really say, you know what, I'm fully gonna go this way instead of going this way. I was straddling the fence for a long time, playing games with myself.
I just got one more question. Life without parole. What does that mean?
Life without parole mean you never get an opportunity to go to the board. That's life without the possibility of parole, and yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna dig in here. I'm gonna jump in with you because I mean you did that Moms Demand Action Walk of Life against gun violence in San Francisco, right?
Yes.
And we met you, man. First I was kind of intimidated. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm the big fella around here, but I ran into somebody bigger than me. So, I met you through What I met. Shout out, What I for introduced me when we collaborated with United Playaz, and we did that walk with Moms Demand Action. When we walked across the bridge. And we was out there, man. So, we're just about supporting the communities, man, all communities. We just here doing our part. So when I met you, What I made a good intro about you, and I met you, you was like, man, I want to, you didn't really say too much at the time, but what I wanted to make sure that I knew that you was someone of value to have interest in, in regard to bringing you on the show. So when it came time for, opening the door to bring more people on, I thought about you. And so my question to you now that I have you here is, tell me a little bit about, who you was before and how you ended up incarcerated to get a life without, an LWOP as they call it, right? Life without possibility of parole. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
How did you end up with that? And who was you at that time?
Yeah, at that time I was, little soccer team from Southside Kingston. I'm from Kingston, Jamaica. Came to the States when I was 13. Lived in Miami for a little bit, then we moved to New York. That's where I spent most of my teenage years, in Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn and Queens. Went to junior high school, and I just started, the community that I came from in Jamaica. You know what I mean? It was a violent era filled with gangs, filled with criminal activities, and just like with the youngsters today, man, we only follow what we emulate. You know what I mean? I had good family. My parents, my grandparents is good church folks, hardworking people. You know what I mean? And I just let the street influence me more than my family influence and value. So I gravitate and grab those false belief system. Getting it any way, any means necessary, and represent the community that I came from. And when I came to New York, it was the same thing. I hang out with Jamaicans from my neighborhood, where I'm from in Kingston, and we everywhere. We in LA, Chicago, New York, Philly. So you know what I mean. So that's what I was doing.
So is it safe to say Jamaican Posse? If I'm getting that wrong, is it Jamaican Posse? Okay, because I looked up to them. I liked it when I was in my criminal thinking. I was like, man, they pushing. You know what I mean? But is that I'm correct with that? Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
So that's what that was the thing I did. Selling drugs, robbery, that type of stuff, and got addicted to that lifestyle. You know what I mean? Coming from New York to LA, and it was one of them nights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things went sideways, and next thing I know, you know what I mean?
Okay.
When did you understand that it was an addiction?
I didn't understand it was an addiction until when I was going through my rehabilitation. That's when you have to that introspection and go back, and because while you're going through it and you're young and your mind is not mature. At least my mind wasn't mature. Right. I thought it was mature because I had money and girls and stuff like that, but my mind wasn't fully mature to really understand what was really going on. I didn't understand that it was an addiction until later on.
Right.
Wow.
Because when you take those self-development courses, so I'm gathering you got that from CGA.
Yeah.
So understanding the three components, obsession, compulsion, progression, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that first stage of your obsession, what was your key desire?
My key desire was money.
That's what it was. That key desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, for the young men and young women who watching this, oftentimes people would think just an addiction could just be sex, food, or drugs.
Mm-hmm.
it's the lifestyle that will we normalize, and so we get into our mature selves and say, damn, I was going back doing that because I didn't understand the feelings, what I was getting, the cravings, what caused me to go back to get that fast money, what we call now to understand to be ill-gotten gain. Yeah.
That's why That's why we didn't want to leave the block. It'll real snow.
Yes.
I'm on the block. I want to go away too far from it. And that's what it was. Those feelings and those cravings that you get. And I never equate that with an addiction. You know what I mean? To you youngsters out there, man, that is not it. That lifestyle is not it. A lot of it, we fell for the hokey doke. We don't want y'all to fall for the hokey doke.
Absolutely.
We want y'all to reach our full potential, man.
So the lifestyle that you led, right, growing up, is it fair to say that you was emotionally dead, meaning that you didn't care who you hurted? Because when we don't have any feelings, we don't care who we hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, like I said, I was for me, I was brought up in the church, or I was always to have God in my presence. And once you start living that lifestyle, you take God out the. Once you take God out the equation, it's like you're not even a human being anymore. I was like an animal. You know, they all say the courts or the board say we are predators in the true sense of the word. For real, that's really what I was. I didn't have no feelings towards anybody, and that is. I've experienced that in prison. I could take my paperwork and I could read it and didn't feel anything. But once my life changed, it was different. I started having emotion. I remember one night I read my paperwork and I cried. This is like 18 years in. And for the first 18 years, I read the same thing and it didn't mean anything to me. So that's really what it was. It's you tell yourself what you want to tell yourself to give yourself permission to do what you do, and then be like, you don't equate no feelings or emotions to it.
So it's safe to say that was your aha moment when you read it for the 18th year. That was okay. So when the aha moment happened, right, and you cried, right? So is that the moment you made amends, or?
I think I made amends in my head and in my mind prior to that, but it started to get better and better as I really started to change, because I was saying it, I was like, wow. But once I really started going to these groups and associating certain thinking and emotions and behavior together and start putting it together, and then when I go back and I would read, I was like, wow. That's when I really started having empathy, not just for the victim, but their family. I never pulled the onion back so far, but once I pulled the onion back far enough, I started to go beyond, started to humanize them, because I never did that when I was in the lifestyle. I never looked at people like they were human beings. You know what I mean? Once I started to humanize them about their wives, their kids, their mothers, their fathers, their siblings, then, it make a big difference.
Yes. How hard is it, or is it difficult when you go inside the schools and the juvenile halls, and you do the talks to the youth to say, hey, I was formerly incarcerated, I had life without. How do they take it?
Not because prior to me doing that, I went in and I gave a speech. So like Rudy, before I started working in the school, Rudy used to bring me to the school and put me in front of class, and I would tell my story and I would share my story with them. You know what I mean? Let them know who I used to be, and you know. So now when I start going to the school, the kids will walk up to me. I know you. You did 27 years in prison. I'm like, you were like, yeah, I saw your speech. You was in my class. So that kind of make it more comfortable. And I don't like to lie to kids. I like to give it to them, give it to them real. And I think that's one of the big things you see in society today, where they give the kids slap on the wrist and don't want to be honest with them. And the more you be honest with them, man, you'll be surprised.
Yes.
And kids love structure, man. They love it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that part it doesn't bother me. Yeah. It doesn't bother me at all. You know what I mean? And especially when I go to the juvenile center and I talk to, you know, the 16 and the 17 and the 14-year-olds and all of them, it's all guns. You know what I mean? And I know, like I said, I used to be a kid, and I remember I was when I was a certain age, you know, trying to get into the life and stuff.
Yes.
You know, you don't want, unless I idolize you, I don't want to hear what you have to say. So I understand that coming in, that it's a difficult task. Right. You know what I mean? So what I try to use as a conduit or a bridge is to really share my story to let them know, man, I've been there and I've done that. You know what I mean? And my boy, what I always said, that's what makes us credible messengers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because the stuff that we have to go to and experience, all the pain and anguish we put on our community and our own family, our mothers and our fathers and our siblings and kids, you know what I mean? We use that to like, man, look, you don't want to put your family through that. You know what I mean? And I think oftentimes when I get that close with some of the kids, they respect that, like, man, for real? And then they go to asking me questions like how it is in prison. I'm like, then I give it to them like, you go in prison, you gonna have another daddy. You ain't gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. You know, so I'm most grateful that I get to come back and do this.
Definitely. And I think, you know, when we share our stories, especially, you know, prison stories, you know, we can't make it seem like prison is cool because these youngsters today, they like going to prison. You know, they think, you know, if I go to prison, I can get a stripe. That's cool. But we have to paint that picture out. Prison is not cool. This is what goes on in prison. You know, and we have to relay that, because if we don't, man, we see what we're working with already.
Let me ask you a question too, because I think this is very important and essential to the work we're doing. Right? How dedicated? What does it really take for us as mentors, right, to really, you know, yeah, we know the work need to be done, right, and we know we have to establish ourselves in the juvenile hall system and in the community per se, and the school systems, right, that we trying to impact, because that's where a lot of the stuff takes place, right, the criminal thinking, right. And so if we can break up that cycle of violence by being in those places, what kind of dedication you have to have in regards to the work? Not for us the money and all with the work. What kind of dedication you have to have?
Your heart got to be into it, man. You got to be fully dedicated, man. You know what I mean? And like for me, I started mentoring people from prison. I didn't start mentoring people since I got out. That's why it helped me to get out of prison, because I had life without parole. And when I got to Solano was like one of the first prisons I've been. I grew up on a level 4. So when I came there, I saw all these programs. I've never seen or heard about it before. So I went in and I started rehabilitating myself. Started to change. Once that started to happen, I said, you know what, I could help some people that I know. So I went to start doing the facilitation training and start going to school. And then for me, man, it's a spiritual thing more than anything else. You know what I mean? Because when I go and help somebody, I would never be able to even that skill. Right. So for me, that's what this line of work is. It's about me giving back to the community, but also I'm still righting my wrongs.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even though the state of California said you're suitable for society.
No, exactly.
It's a bigger person.
Yeah.
It's bigger than me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So for me, that's really what it's really about, man. You know what I mean? To go back and to come back and do this, and I'm fully committed. You know what I mean? I'm fully no amount of money in the world can make me do this, because this was placed on my heart.
Definitely.
You know, once I got back into my spirituality, and my heart started to change, and I'm start having feelings again. That's where this is coming from.
Definitely.
When you and I first met, we ran across each other. I think that was October when you spoke at the DA, the Attorney Empowerment Group. Remember downtown Oakland?
Yeah.
So you got on it and you told your story. And remember Bob Bonta, the Attorney General, him and I think it was the mayor.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, we can't do this work. It had to be those who are grassrooted in the community, and those who are violent interrupters, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
And so with this line of work that we do, was that a true statement? From how they conveyed it to us, who need that support?
I don't think it's a violent interrupters. I think we do have to interrupt it.
Right.
You know, because you can't be reactionary. That's why, for me, it's good to get the kids as young as possible and give them the information and give them that confidence and the leadership skills and quality, so when they face with certain things, they learn how to make good decisions on their feet.
Right.
So when somebody come and be like, hey man, you need to join our gang, or you da-da-da-da-da. No, I'm not doing that. I'm doing this over here. I already got my goals planned and set out for me, and this is what I need to do to achieve those goals. So I think for me, that's the best thing, more than wait until the kid is in trouble than trying to change them. Mm-hmm. It's best to get to them before they get to that. So in that context,
I agree. And the reason,
totally agree.
Right, and the reason I asked that question in the line of work, I don't even say work because it's not a job for me. In the service that we provide to the people, right, to the community, and to the youth, is that for over a quarter of a century, maybe say 50 years, that they've been pouring billions and billions of dollars into these different organizations that haven't really made a positive impact into our communities, right? But the only ones who are able now, as we see, who can make this impact into the community, those who have the learned and lived experiences, who are coming out now to do the work we are doing now. And so we see with these new legislations and laws that are being passed and amended that it's more so now to continue to fund organizations like us.
Yeah, I truly believe that. Because, because we've been through it, we have experienced it. Oftentimes some of these government agencies, they put money into stuff that, similar to like when we was in prison. You got somebody coming in, a doctor, or they went to school, and you never experienced, you don't understand the underlying causes. We do.
Exactly.
We understand the root of the problem. So until you address the root of the problem, which is literacy, education, after-school programs, and if we build these entities, they will come. You know what I mean? You could build a studio like this in the community and teach kids how to organize and run podcasts, teach them how to film, teach them how to take pictures. Not just sports. You could build a basketball, baseball, and all those things. Teach them about art. Teach them about learning a trade. And I think if you put these things in, throughout the whole United States, we're having the same problem in the communities of color all throughout the country. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I truly believe that if you do these things, a lot more kids, because by the time a kid turns 16 or 17, that's the underlying causes is he ain't got no money and he broke, so he want to go sell drugs to take care of himself. He don't know any better. So if you put something in place of that, giving him something to occupy his mind and to build his value system and the principles to do it in a correct way, that kid, by the time he's 16, 17, he's not going to want to go on the block. He's going to go somewhere else. He coming to the studio with Fahim and them to do a podcast or to film a podcast. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, we understand it because we lived it, and it's about addressing the underlying causes.
Most definitely.
Beautifully articulated.
Most definitely.
You got anything else you want to say before I jump
Go
in?
ahead, bro.
Okay. Masterly said. I will say that. But just some of the issues we dealing with when we go inside the juvenile hall, right? And teaching. You brought up construction, MC3. We teach that multi-core craft curriculum, right? To those who's incarcerated in the juvenile hall system, right? And we give them opportunity to learn a craft, right? So, and with that being said, to allow the judges and all of them to know that these kids are trying to make a change, and we try to provide the resources to connect them to, okay, they can follow and become an apprentice in what they learned. But the most powerful thing that you said to me that's really that's relevant to this point is the consequences of street life, right? And the consequences of street life encompasses all the underlying factors of why we do what we do, right? And the consequences of that thing, right? So my question to you is, now that you went through that, right, made your amends, got released, what made you want to join United Playaz and do the body work what you're doing now, and how committed you had to become in that organization to be a stable, sound mentor, credible mentor, right? To keep that what you say you're gonna do. Relevant.
Yeah, because like I said, I just stand on my newfound belief system, on my value system, and the principles that I live my life by. Right. I changed in prison, and I steadfast. These are my core beliefs. These are my principles and my values. And when I met Rudy Corpus 2 days after I got out of prison,
Okay.
I went to Geo 111 Taylor. I was so happy. I was just volunteering, cleaning everything up. So it was a Saturday. Was it like a Saturday or something like that? They were like, you know what? We're gonna take you and a few of the other guys to a basketball game. It took us to the playoffs. I just got out of prison, took us to the Warrior game, and he came introduce himself because he collaborate with 111 Taylor, and he introduced himself and he told me and probably 6 other guys that he run a nonprofit, and this is the type of work that I've been doing in prison. So he was just grateful. This is the type of work I want to do, once I get out. And I just went over there and I just volunteered. I never left. I just volunteered every day, and the kids love me. Like, man, kids love you, Omar. And I just kept going over there every day, and until they hired me as full-time staff.
That's what's up. That's a beautiful thing. I got one question, big brother, is education. Do you think education plays a part, or should I say a lack of education plays a part of these youth going astray? Because I did.
Yeah, it does. Same with me. I wasn't educated. So, when you're not educated, anybody could come and sell you anything and you fall for it. Yeah, they would do that to an educated person also, but when you're educated and you have the knowledge, you setting goals and you're doing the work to achieve your goals versus just sitting around not doing anything. He touched on earlier about what he's doing about the peer apprenticeship in juvenile hall. It's the same thing happened to me while I was at Solano. I went there and I was doing in-building self-help at that time, doing AVP, alternative to violence. I was doing those things and doing facilitation and being a coordinator in the yard and the Lansing Street program here in San Francisco. Been around for over 50 years. Dr. Mimi Silbert, that lady helped save my life. She came and they did like a vetting thing. They met up in the gym. At the time I worked in the canteen. And I was going to work. This crazy story, true. How the officers always do, they're trying to get on your bad side. Right. I'm supposed to go to work at 10 o'clock. I was trying to go out the building at 10 o'clock. The tower officer said, no, sit right there. He looking for an argument. I sat there. Didn't do no arguing. I'm understanding myself. Right. I know this is what he's looking for. Typical inmate is gonna da. I sat there for like about an hour. Then he made an announcement. The Lansing Street is gonna be in the gym. I heard about the Lansing Street in 1998. I was in Salinas Valley. I had a cellie that was going home, and he told me he was going to Delancey Street. And I remember everything you talk about Delancey Street was good. And when I went in their program, that was one of the things they teach you a trade, right, as well as becoming an inmate counselor.
You was in there with Lavelle Stewart too, right?
Yeah, that's my boy. Lavelle Stewart is my boy. Okay. Big V.
Yeah, I had him on. We had him on the podcast.
Yeah, that's my boy right there, man. And yeah, man, that program right there, man, helped change my life, man. And because it's not about just going to group and learning the steps, it's about living it.
Living it, exactly.
It's about living these concepts, man. And I was in a leadership position, so I was tried every single day. I dealt with people from everywhere, people from in the state, out the state, Bay Area, LA, Central California, Northerners, Southerners. So I dealt with everybody, and we all brothers, and they teach you how we gonna live out here in society. You're black and I'm Mexican. We're not doing the you sit over there, you shower over there. It was just a different environment, and that right there helped to save and change me. And I got my pre-apprenticeship in there, learning how to do hands-on, learning how to lights, hanging sheetrock, framing, the whole thing, being a carpenter, the whole thing. And I never thought I would learn that. And most of the people that I work with, they said, man, I was lucky I had an uncle or a cousin that brought me in when I was 18. That's why it's so pivotal what you're doing. That's very important. Given to the younger they get in to the trade, the better off their life is going to be.
Exactly. In order to do that, going through the Lansing Street, the AAs and the NAs, you say step 4, made a a moral inventory. How often do you practice step 4, the moral inventory, searching for?
I do. I practice that being in the Lansing Street. I learn how to practice that every single day. I constantly, all my actions, all my interactions, all my reactions, I steady playing it to my mind throughout the whole day. You know what I mean? Or because I gotta catch myself. It's about catching that stinking thinking, or that the ego. Right. My ego is not my friend.
You got to check it.
You know what I mean? I constantly got to check myself. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Because in that step, you say,
Yeah.
I made a searching and fearless more inventory of myself, right? But before you get to that step 4, you had to admit
Yeah.
there's a power greater than myself, right? And I think as we do this work, it's needed for us to really understand those steps in any way that we can, so we can continue to do that self-reflection. Because in order to touch the youth and touch the community, we have to really reflect on who we are, where we come from, where we're trying to go. The old mental state have to be deadened and to come alive with our new and true selves and our improved selves as men. To say, hey, now I'm someone who is credible. And how do I know I'm credible? Not because I say I'm credible, because the reactions of the people and how the kids jump on your back.
Yeah.
When they see you, they light up. I know you. Hey, that's valuable.
Yes, sir.
That's valuable. You know, and before we close out, we have to give a shout out to Chevron. Chevron is our first sponsor. And so shout out to Chevron for sponsoring 100 Years Enterprise. And so for anyone who want to find out what 100 Years about, where to look us up at, you can find us on Instagram, 100 Years DOP, our YouTube, 100 Years Enterprise, our website, 100years.biz. We're a nonprofit organization, so if you want to sponsor us, if our mission aligns with what you have going on, hey, seek us out. Sponsorship, we're open for it. And hit that donate button. Like, share, and subscribe. My name is Fahim.
I'm Patrick.
Dante.
Omar. One love.
Thank you, big bro.
Yeah, thank you.
United Playaz, 100 Years Enterprise. We got some work to do.
UP in the house, man. Yeah.